Hi and welcome to the Three Cups Full blog. I'm Sharanya, and at this blog we talk about how to live full of love, acceptance and respect, which are the three cups. When you're full on the inside, the outside world reflects that back to you. We also talk about our inner voice and how to follow the guidance of our soul to let that path unfold before us, as opposed to always doing what our mind is telling us to do. There are two options, there are two different ways to live life, and we talk about the path of our soul. So this is the final video in the 4-part series on our inner voice and the different layers, the different levels of having that relationship with our inner voice. So if you've been following the series, the first one is our gut instinct, our gut response. The second one, second level is when you get flashes of insight. The third level is the two-way conversation where you ask a question and then you receive the response. You can actually hear what the inner voice is saying. And lastly, this final level is what I call constant integration. So constant integration means that not only can you have a two-way conversation with your inner voice, so you ask a question, you receive the answer, and that just simplifies your decision-making process so remarkably. But when you're in constant integration, you can hear guidance from your inner voice to questions you didn't even think about asking. It's a whole different level. It's a whole different level of being in tune with your inner voice, because that means that you are operating at a level where silence is your habitual nature. Silence is what you've cultivated. You are living in a space of inner silence. And so even when you're just washing dishes or driving your car or reading a book, you might hear your inner voice give you guidance on something that you weren't even thinking about. You weren't even ruminating on trying to solve this problem. It's just you weren't trying to fix something. You weren't trying to get clarity on something. It just gives you guidance on the next step or something to look at or something to move towards. And in that way, it almost takes the reins. That's the following the heart. The heart is in control. And it's really exciting when that happens, because you really feel protected by your inner world. Your higher self has got your back. It's a beautiful experience when you're in a space of constant integration, which means you are in the field of oneness. And so the information you're getting is at that frequency. It means that you can move through the world with less stress and less confusion and way more clarity and way more courage and action to allow that path of your soul to unfold. The delay time is so minimal when you are in that constant integration. So your inner voice has full reins and you are allowed to just flow with it. You're completely in flow. So constant integration means you are operating at the alpha level of brain frequency. So alpha level is where you can begin hearing your inner voice, and the deeper levels of your brain frequency, brainwaves, means that your inner voice becomes more and more clear. When you go up into high levels of beta, that means that your mind is quite active and it's quite loud and strong, and your thoughts are being pulled towards your mind, and there's less connection to your inner voice. So the calmer your brainwaves, the more you can hear your inner voice. Constant integration means that you're spending more time in those calm brainwaves. Your mind is not so active and jumping and confused and overwhelmed and panicked. And it's also not even stressed by anything. Your mind has become a wonderful function of your inner world that functions in a really healthy way, that contributes to your experience of the world, of your life. And it's a great accessory. It's not in the driver's seat. Your inner voice, your soul, your higher self is in the driver's seat, and your mind is a wonderful servant to that voice. So constant integration means that your hands are completely open. You've let go of the reins, and you are in the hands of your inner voice, of your soul. So you can relax knowing that you are in capable hands. Now that sounds easier than what it actually is, because that would mean you would have to release control of your life. It sounds so scary. And there's a part of your mind, the active egoic part of your mind, that will fight tooth and nail to maintain control of your decisions. And so when you've calmed that part of yourself down and actually chosen your inner voice over it and said, no, my ego is not going to be driving this anymore, my soul is going to be in control, it takes a huge amount of trust to do that. That trust has been built on layers and layers of experience with your inner voice, so you feel you can trust that part of yourself. But it takes a lot of surrender. That's when you're living a completely surrendered life to God, to your higher self, to your inner voice, your soul, that higher part of you, that higher vibration part of you. And it means that you are in a state of flow with everything around you, and with people, with events, with circumstances. You're just constantly in flow with it. It's a constant integration with the oneness of life. And so the guidance that you're getting is not always just at the level of your mind trying to figure out stuff. It's at a higher level of, okay, this is the path of the soul, and now that part of you is going to be giving you information on which way to go, what step to take. And it's operating at a higher place. It's not having to negotiate your mind into it, because the third level, which is the two-way conversation, is really a conversation. And it's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of, I hope I don't make the wrong decision. And so it's very question-answer based, question-answer. But at constant integration, which is the fourth level, it's not just Q&A. It is almost like the writing on the book in the pages of your life get revealed to you, and you don't even know what's coming next. It's really exciting, but it's living in the place of chaos versus control. So you're okay with not knowing where your feet are going to land, because you know wherever you're going to land, there's going to be rose petals underneath your feet, to be very poetic about it, because your soul is a dance. It's a dance with life. It's where in Hinduism they have this beautiful analogy where you become the flute, hollow, which references the letting go of control, and you allow life to play music through you. Oh, it's so beautiful. And that is what constant integration is. It's when you become the flute in the hands of life, and life is played through you. So the music moves you. Your mind is not trying to put chess pieces together and trying to control things. And the way it unfolds when you live that surrendered life, what manifests for you and what unfolds for you, what you experience and what you contribute and what you receive, is so far beyond anything that your mind can conjure up. It is so beyond your imagination, and your imagination is expansive, but it's even beyond that. It takes you beyond anything you can envision for yourself. It takes you to a greater vision of your life, but it does it in step by step momentum. It's very rudimentary that way. It's just basic step by step, and then you unfold it in a way where the vision of your life is greater than your egoic mind creating it for you. And that's constant integration. I feel that is the ultimate nirvana. Like, that is enlightenment. That is when you're living a fully surrendered life. You're like the monks in the mountains, but you don't have to be that in this lifetime. You can be a mother with 3 kids. You can be a father with 2 kids. You could be a career person in the world, you know, 1 foot down into the nitty-gritty depths of this gross physical world, and 1 foot up, elevated into the spiritual realm. And so you're connected to both. You're not living with your head in the clouds and you're not actually part of society, but you're fully integrated into society and being a leader in your own way, and being fueled by the energy that is your soul, that is the divine intelligence rushing through your veins and your blood. And it is a symphony. It is so beautiful to be connected to that part of life. I always thought it was going to be really quiet, but it's not. It's really vibrant. It's loud. It's like an orchestra where you feel the energy and the vibrations of people around you, but especially animals and nature. We can feel that high vibration and you can see it and you are part of it. You're not onlooking. You are inside it. You're inside the web of life. And when you're in that space, you're part of this massive rainbow of colors and energy frequencies. It's really high vibration that allows you to move through life in a place beyond fear. It's a place beyond fear. It's vibrating with love. And I think that constant integration, which I've only had glimpses of, and that's the whole journey, is to have, is to move more in that direction. But the taste that I've had, it's like, oh my goodness, more of that, please. Like, that is when your whole body is relaxed, your mind is relaxed, but you're active, you're participating, you're moving, you're not stagnant, you're not getting stale where you are, you're not in analysis paralysis, your mind is not terrorizing you, it's not controlling you, but your heart is in control and it's open and it's vulnerable and it's strong. And that is constant integration, where your soul is in charge of your life and you know it. You are actively letting your soul take care of you, releasing it completely. And you've found a way to do it where you are not passive, you're not inactive, you're not sitting on your hands waiting. You are a full 100% embodiment of your soul unfolding. You are active, you are participating, you are inside the game of life and you're not just observing. So it's a whole different game when you're in the space of constant integration. And when you look at people and make a judgment, you can only judge to see whether, like that, they look like they're in flow. They look like the way their life is unfolding is beyond a vision that any one individual human being can have for themselves. And when you listen to them talk in interviews, you can kind of hear what they're saying, that they've been guided every step of the way to places beyond their own mind. So I think constant integration is what I'm certainly aiming for. I've got glimpses of it, to be part of this oneness of life and not have fear hold me back in any way, to dive in completely, and to have that level of silence within myself, so that the constant communication from my inner voice is at my fingertips, is I can access it, I can hear it. So moving from two-way conversation to constant integration is a really amazing process. So I'm watching that unfold within myself. So as a challenge for this week, have your antennas out for people out there in the world that you feel are dipping their toes into this level of constant integration. Is there anyone out there that you think of, that comes to mind when you think of someone living a vision beyond their own capabilities of their mind? It's something beyond them. They're the flute in the symphony of life. Life is playing through them and they are trusting in a higher power, which they might call God, that you might call the universe, you might say it's your higher self. It's that oneness principle, and you notice it in them. And then just listen to some interviews or read something that they've said to help you connect to that idea of constant integration, that way of life. So that's it for this series. I hope you enjoyed those 4 levels. If you found it helpful, definitely subscribe to the blog if you haven't already at 3cupsfull.com.au, and share this video with your friends. I will see you all next week with a brand new series. Bye for now.
Stop.